Okay, Bishop, we're live.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good morning.
Let me welcome all of the persons who are there today, the North Carolina Poor People's Campaign, Council of Churches, and others who have come, clergy and advocates and impacted poor and low-wage people. This is Bishop William Barbera, the national co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign and the president of Repairers of the Breach, that holds the mobilizing side of the Poor People's Campaign all over the country today. Our coordinating committees, led by our tri-chairs, the tri-chairs that you'll hear from today in North Carolina, are holding simultaneous canvassings in poor and low-wage communities, encouraging people to exercise their right to vote. We're doing it particularly in the areas and among the population that is the largest potential swing vote in the country. Poor and low-wage people make up 30% of the total electorate. And in battleground states like North Carolina and Ohio and Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Florida, poor and low-wage persons, that's persons making $50,000 or less in a family of four, people who make less than a $15 minimum wage, living minimum wage, those are the people who work hard every day, who struggle to get by, who are $500 from a major economic emergency. They represent over 40% of the electorate in battleground states. There are 30 million poor and low-wage voters who did not vote in the last election. 57 million voted, so poor and low-wage folk did vote. But if they voted at the same rate as other populations, they are the largest potential swing vote in the country. Mm-hmm. One of the great researchers and pollsters, Celinda Lake's firm, says that this is the place upon which American elections will turn, and that any politician that is not talking to them is engaging in a form of political suicide, really. They're not serious about moving forward and speaking to the entire country. We know, for instance, in places like Wisconsin, the last election, the margin of victory was only 20,000 votes in the presidential election, but over 1.1 million poor and low-wage voters did not vote. And the number one reason they did not vote, according to the study that we did in the Poor People's Campaign with Columbia University and others, is that nobody talks to them or talks about the issues they're really concerned about. And that is addressing poverty, child poverty, and health care, and raising the minimum wage to a living wage of at least $15 an hour, and labor rights. In Pennsylvania, the margin of victory in the last election was only 40,000 votes. Over 1.2 million poor and low-wage voters that could have voted did not vote. In Michigan, in one of the most recent elections, the margin of victory was only 10,000 votes. And the number of poor and low-wage voters, factory workers who work in factories and live in their cars at night, teachers who are underpaid, health personnel and home health people who make less than living wage. This is what we're talking about. Over 1 million of them could have voted in Michigan and didn't. And the margin of victory was only 10,000. And North Carolina, and to the members of the media, North Carolina, nearly 40% of our population is poor and or low wage. Over 39% of our workforce makes less than $15 an hour, a minimum living wage. Almost 40% of our workforce makes less. And in North Carolina, in the last election, presidential election, the margin of victory was only 74,000 votes.
Wow.
But the number of poor and low-wage voters that did not vote was over 1 million. Over 1 million voters. So we know that this is the group that if you, in many states, if just 10%, in fact, there's no state that we call battleground states where if just 20% of poor and low-wage voters who have not voted were to vote, that they could not fundamentally shift the outcome of the election because they are the swing vote. In the Bible, the Bible speaks of the stone that the builders rejected becoming the chief cornerstone, the builder of a new society. That is why today, right there in Winston-Salem, for instance, Union Baptist, my dear friend Bishop Sir Walter Mack and all others who gathered, are having press conferences across the country and then beginning a season of canvassing that will go on all the way to November. We committed in this season to touch 15 million poor and low-wage voters in this season. We started in March of this past year. Tens of thousands of people and 3 million people online gathered with us in June 29th of this year for a mass poor people's low-wage workers moral assembly and moral march on Washington to the polls. Just last night, today at 11 o'clock, right now as we're at this press conference, we released a text messaging program to over 10 million poor and low-wage voters across the country, effort that has never happened. We're not telling people who to vote for. We're telling them what the issues are and where people stand, and that they must vote if they care about these issues.
Yes.
And finally, we want you to know that in October, the Poor People's Campaign of North Carolina, Repairs of the Breach, and the North Carolina Council of Churches will be launching a voter revival, a Get Out the Vote revival that will start in Raleigh and travel across the state, east, west. We're going to go to the east, the west, the north, the south, because what we recognize is North Carolina has always been a powerhouse when people turn out to vote. And we are not going to leave these voters untalked to. Over 40%, again, as I close, of the North Carolina's population is poor and or low wage. Over 39% of our workers are poor and low wage, make less than $15 an hour. And over 1 million poor and low wage voters did not vote the last election. And the margin of victory was only 74,000.
Wow.
Which means if just 8%, 8 to 10% of those voters could have voted, they could have determined the outcome of the election. So we say, forward together.
Not one step back.
This is serious business. We as a campaign are engaged fully all across the nation, and particularly in 15 major states that we see the possibility of battleground, because poor and low-wage people represent more than 30% of the electorate, and we're going all out in this massive push. I hope you look at the video that's coming up that will show the people, and it's black, we're white, we're Latino, we're Asian, we're indigenous, we're young, we're old, we're urban, we're rural, we're Republican, we're Democrat, we're independent, who look at issues and not necessarily party. We are people from all walks of life, people who work in all different occupations, who are concerned about living wages and health care and public education and the women's right to choose, all of those things that we are concerned about, and we intend to push out and say to this population, if there's ever been a time that you need to maximize your power, it's right now, because we are the swing vote. God bless you. Thank you for everything you're doing. And I look to be in North Carolina in October for this revival, and we'll be saying more about this as we move across the nation and across the state. Take care.
Thank you, Bishop. We're going to see the video, and then we will come back with different voices from North Carolina. Shift. video.
We are representing America's largest potential swing vote, poor and low-wage brothers and sisters who make this country work.
Those impacted by injustice, voting together.
My whole life, I've been running only to find that there is nowhere to run in this country that is not contaminated by the disease of injustice.
Poor and low-income folks make up over 43% of Mississippi's electorate.
I am determined to give my beautiful daughters a future.
We're organizing every homeless veteran across this country, and we're uniting because we are the swing vote.
And we have the power to fight.
It is really important to vote.
Stand for justice.
We are strong, not weak. Our vote is our voice, and the ballot box should be our choice.
If we don't take action collectively, they're going to keep mistreating us. We must get out and vote. We are the swing vote, and we will determine every electoral contest.
We won't be silent anymore.
We saved this country. Together we can do it again. Vote!
Until one day, we are one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Because together we are the swing vote.
Dear Father, protect us this weekend as we get out the go out to vote.
Amen.
Amen.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is a privilege to stand before you today as we gather for a critical cause that goes beyond politics and partisanship. We are here as the North Carolina Poor People's Campaign. I am Reverend Dr. Hannah R. Broom, National Director of Religious Affairs for Repairs of the Breach, and also President of the North Carolina Council of Churches. It is a movement dedicated to a transformative power of unity and justice, committed to amplifying the voices of over 15 million poor and low-income, infrequent voters nationwide who have been silenced for far too long. Today, in Winston-Salem and across this country, we are not just launching a Get Out the Vote effort, we are igniting a beacon of hope and a call to action. Our mission is clear: to demand that every candidate seeking office, from local town halls to the national stage, acknowledge the harsh reality of poverty and low wealth that claims 800 lives daily, amounting to a staggering 295,000 lives lost each year. This is not merely a statistic, it is a crisis, a national emergency that must compel each one of us to act with urgency and compassion. The cost of inaction is too high and the stakes are too great. This campaign is not just about numbers on a ballot. It's about lives that are on the line. We are here to hold those in power accountable and to remind everyone that the policies they enact or ignore have real life and death consequences for millions of Americans. The crisis of death by poverty is not just an economic issue, it is a moral issue. A moral failure to recognize the inherent dignity of every human being. And we will not be silent until this injustice is addressed. Today, as we launch our canvassing efforts across this country, we are not just knocking on doors, we are knocking down barriers. We are challenging the status quo that has left too many of our neighbors voiceless and invisible. We are centering the needs of our poor and low-income voters in our dialogues, in our demands, and in our democracy. This is about more than just a vote. It's about visibility, viability, and vindication for those who have been pushed to the margins. Our campaign's strength lies in its foundation, the voices and stories of the people. It lies in the hands of the single mother working 2 jobs to make ends meet. It lies in the elderly struggling to afford their medications, the workers fighting for a fair and living wage. Their hopes, their struggles, their resilience are the lifeblood of this movement. And as we gather here today and across the country, let us be reminded that we are not just campaigning for votes. We are campaigning for the very soul of our communities, for the promise of every nation where every life is valued and every voice is heard. Simultaneously across the state and nationwide, similar press conferences are being held in some of the poorest precincts, centering on the needs of our communities. This is a national call to action, a collective outcry demanding that our elected officials do more than talk about poverty. They must commit to eradicating it. We are calling on candidates to go beyond rhetoric, to deliver real, sustainable policies that will uplift the poor and low-income citizens in this country. We must recognize that our strength lies in our solidarity. As we stand here today, let us remember that the power to change this nation lies in the hands of its people. Let us be relentless in our pursuit of justice, unwavering in our demand for dignity, and united for our commitment for the common good. Together, we can and we will make a difference. As we move forward in our canvassing efforts, let us do so with courage and conviction. Let us knock on every door, make every phone call, and send every text with the knowledge that we are part of something greater than ourselves. We are part of a movement that will not rest until every vote is counted, every voice is heard, and every life is valued. This is our movement. We are the swing vote. This is our mission, and together we will make history. Forward together,
Not one step back.
as we continue on in this press conference with other voices that will be heard now.
Good morning. I am Linda McKenzie. Thanks for joining us at the Poor People's Campaign with our first canvassing weekend as we reach out to the 15 million poor and low-income infrequent voters. We are one of 36 states and we're canvassing this weekend. Today we'll be handing out a candidate scorecard which shows where the candidates stand on the issues that are very important to our community. It also lists on these issues how the Democrats and the Republicans voted. It's got the percentage that you can see, thoroughly fact-checked. So we will be handing that out on our canvassing this weekend. Our next canvassing is set for October 4th through 6th, and we will also be having text banking and phone banking in the coming weeks as well. Thank you so much.
Morning, everyone. I'm Chyl Harry, and I am speaking on behalf of our Bishop, Sir Walter Mack Jr. We are always elated and excited to partner with the Poor People's Campaign with Bishop Barbera. This is our third Get Out the Vote revival that we are partnering with him on as well. Union Baptist Church is 100 years old. We've been in this community for that time. We've been serving here. We've been doing it in various capacities, and to be able to really talk with people and to be a focal point for getting out the vote and mobilizing individuals to get their voices heard is a part of what we do, a part of what we believe our mission is here in this community. We are holding a Get Out the Vote revival starting this week. On Tuesday, Dr. Barbera will be conducting a strategy workshop for us. So we're inviting everyone to join us on Zoom. It'll be a Zoom call for him. Okay. It'll be a Zoom call, and Dr. Barbera, he knows how to strategize. He knows how to pull people together. So he's going to be conducting this call for several of our churches and organizations throughout this region. Then on Wednesday and Thursday, we're actually going to have workshops where we're going to talk about social media. Nobody does that better than Dr. Barbara and the Poor People's Campaign. They know how to reach communities. They know how to reach people, and they're going to be instructing us on this. So we're inviting you to join us for the Get Out the Vote Revival, and it'll be the 17th through the 19th here at Union Baptist Church. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Selvin Jordan, and I'm always looking for an opportunity to help to empower and to help to make a difference in our community. Reverend Barbara has taught us that we are the swing vote. We have power. We represent so many people, such a large number, until we can make a difference in this, in the coming election. We are looking at the policies. We're not looking at our personalities. We're just looking at things that are going on and what can we do to change them. We're looking at making a difference in workers' rights, in voting rights, in civil rights, in human rights. I mean, we have to protect and expand the women's rights that are being abridged and taken away with abortion. We have to organize and mobilize. We have to be serious about this. This is an opportunity to make a shift in everything that's in all of the policies. And when I look at the policies that he gave me the scorecard, it's appalling to me what we have done as people. You know, we always try to be fair. We try to be even-handed, but we also have to look out for the needs of the less fortunate and for those who represent us and the middle class and the poor. It's just our opportunity to get it done, and I think we can.
Amen. Thank you. Amen.
Hi, I'm Jim Norris from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I want to emphasize a couple of things. One thing is for the elderly, and I'm sort of elderly myself. Some people out there are trying to stop Social Security, and some people are out there to stop Medicare. People live their entire life and put in money, and then they're just going to wipe it away.
Shame, shame.
It's just awful. And there's also a big thing concerning medicine for all. There are so many people out there that are having so many issues. I had a previous wife who's passed away. She was a very brittle diabetic, and she had to go to the hospital over and over and over again on emergency situations.
My.
So it's really terrible.
Healthcare for all.
Healthcare for all.
Yes, those are the main things I wanted to talk about. There are many, many, many other issues, and others will share on those. Thank you.
Thank you. Amen.
Hello, my name is Alex Ruth. I'm from High Point, North Carolina, and this is my first time doing anything like this. I followed Reverend Barbera up to DC on June 29th when I saw him on The Daily Show, and I felt like he was speaking a lot of the same things that I needed to hear at that time. And growing up, I just see a lot of people just kind of live and deal with the problems that they were given, and most of the time they feel like they don't even have the right to ask for help.
Wow.
And they feel like that it's kind of just the way that things are, and no one even gives them the information on how to change those things.
Wow.
And to me, that's really why I'm here and what I would like to see change. Thank you.
Welcome.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
We are the swing vote.
We are the
We
swing
are
vote.
the swing vote.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
My name is Sandra Noble. I am an organizer with the North Carolina Poor People's Campaign, but I am also a hair on the giant that we're waking of the 3.5 million poor and low wage workers that we have here in North Carolina alone. I am here inviting you all to get out to vote, to come and join us with our canvassing with Get Out to Vote. Really, I can't tell you who to vote for, okay? I can't even really stand here and tell you the reasons, but we all know the reasons why we should vote, okay? Like the Earth, Wind, and Fire old song, the reasons. We know the reasons that we're here, most definitely. And we know, let's just say, like Bishop Barbera said, if you don't vote, it's gonna cost us, okay? It's gonna cost us. But what I can do is invite you to come out to vote with us, join our campaign using our tools for resources, as well as our scorecards with the candidacies, with the candidacy stands and issues. I'm sorry. We are North Carolina Poor People's Campaign is bipartisan. We do not endorse either, campaign, but we do encourage all to get out to vote. Come with us on canvassing. Register a canvas. You can register a canvas in your area. We have the tools and everything that you need to get that canvassing done. All I can say is, if you don't vote, then society will pay.
We stand on the policies
Yes,
that
sir.
will help uplift everyone and not just few.
Yes, we do.
Come on.
Amen.
Amen. So come join us. We'll be we'll be canvassing today here in Winston. At 4 o'clock, we'll be canvassing in Charlotte from 4 to 7. Tomorrow, we'll be in Raleigh from 3 to 6 canvassing. And then you also can go to the North Carolina Poor People's .org page and register your canvases. You can go to poorpeoplescampaign.org and get more information. I want to see all of you out there. I want to see all of you at the polls, because we are the swing vote. And we're going to do this moving forward together.
Not one step back.
Thank you.